This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
That's a little loud. Hey, everybody. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, volume problems. Hi, it is the After Party live on a Travel Tuesday, and my apologies for the tardiness with a little after show meeting, talking about maybe asking our guests to wear headphones or some type of earbud so we can better the audio quality for everyone. So yeah, save the bees. This is a great story. We'll talk a little bit in the show about these new robot bees that weigh less than a paperclip. They're tiny and they could be used in these new vertical farming type of situations to pollinate. And we'll talk about them. They're kind of weird and also kind of drony and scary in a way. Cool, but yeah, technology, interesting. Oh no. Let's see. Talking a lot about the bees, a lot of sciencey stuff. You guys always are sciencey. Fly one into the White House with a very small microphone. This is what I mean about scary. These little things could be, flown in anywhere, could do anything, could maybe have some toxic venom infused. I don't know. My mind goes crazy, right? Hello, Rhonda. Hello, Wes. I saw your $10 contribution via PayPal to the show, and I really appreciate it so much. The month of January was a rough month for this show. It's going to be fluctuating up and down. And so sometimes it's, we're breaking even and sometimes not, but I'm committed to keeping this show going. And I just thank you so much for helping keep it going and contributing. The PayPal information is in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. Hello, Deborah. I saw your message at the very end, your kind words. Thank you for that. Deidre, oh, what a nice message you have. I need Kim's soothing voice. Oh, as I'm sick to my stomach about what's happening in our country. I know. It is not easy to swallow it. And I can see why you feel icky about everything that's happening. I was emailing David K. Johnston yesterday to give him the link to get on the show today. And I said, can someone stop this Trump roller coaster so I can just get off? I don't want to get off, though. That's the thing. I know we don't talk politics, but I'll just say this is America. And I love this country. And I want it to be okay. And I want it to be successful. And I don't just want to stop the roller coaster and get off. I just want to fix it. I just have to have belief that in 2 years, voters will come to their senses. I'm hoping. I'm hopeful. I don't want to lose hope. So, okay, enough politics. But thank you. And I get where you're coming from, sister, completely. Look at this. Oh, wow. Beth coming in with a $20 super sticker. Thank you, Beth Farmer, a huge supporter of the show, and I'm so grateful. And then Deidre also with a $20 super sticker. Here's to you and the MTS family for keeping me sane during these crazy times where we're going to take a little sane break. We're going to take a little calm hour or 40 minutes or whatever it is with each other to hang out and consider some stories that that aren't making the headlines because the world has clearly gone crazy, but they're still important stories and they're interesting stories too. So we'll do that. We'll do it right now. But thank you for the contributions to the show. All right. Have friends. Hello to you, Heather. And this is it. This is one of those things where you feel like this is a support group. We come together with kindness and love and good stuff. And yeah, icky. Right. Okay. Here it is. We're going to start with this one because I found it fascinating and sad because I've been here and it's not very happy at a theme park when you got to lay people off. Legoland. Layoffs are coming to Legoland. No, yeah, they're going to lay off about 100 people at Legoland. And most of the layoffs are coming in the entertainment sector, the people who I guess perform in the park. Legoland's kind of fun. They have in Carlsbad, California, they've got 3 different parks within Legoland. So they have an aquarium, which is kind of cool. And they have a water park, which is awesome. And then they have the Legoland park where they have some rides and they have a bunch of displays of amazing Legos, like Legos around the world kind of thing. And then they have the Legoland Hotel, which costs $1 million to stay a night in. However, it is amazing with Legos in the lobby, like Lego pits that your kids can climb and build in, movies at the pool, a Lego dance party, Lego buffet. Like they just have so much going on at the hotel that it becomes part of the experience of going to the park is staying there. But I digress. Mass layoffs are hitting Legoland. Yeah, it's a bummer. They filed a warn notice at Legoland in Carlsbad. That's when you plan to lay people off. You have to file this notice under the law. 97 employees, they say, will permanently lose their jobs. They're switching over from their live performers to some type of outside company who will provide the performers for Legoland. So they put out a statement and they said the decision to reduce the size of our entertainment team was undoubtedly difficult. Maybe people aren't going to Legoland as much, or maybe they just saw ways when they could, the ways they could cut costs at Legoland. Kind of a bummer to see that happen. Um, can we talk about AI for a moment? Yeah, there is a line for AI where it can replicate itself. It learns how to replicate itself. And researchers say that when AI can successfully self replicate, that is the line. That's the red line when AI can outsmart humans. I don't know if you saw Jefferson Graham and that podcast, AI podcast sound. Wow. You really couldn't tell that was AI voices. I mean, there were glitches here and there, but for the most part, it doesn't sound like the AI you hear on YouTube, like the robotic voices. It sounded pretty natural. So if that's the wave of the future, that could definitely outsmart me. But scientists say an advanced artificial intelligence system has crossed this so-called red line after successfully replicating itself without any human assistance. A team in China at Fudan University made this discovery, and they say it's a development and an early sign of the emergence of rogue AI, which may eventually operate against the best interests of humanity. And now we're in a Hollywood blockbuster weird movie, right? Except for this is real. They looked at two large language models that are already available. They looked at Llama, which is Meta's large language model, and Quen from Alibaba. And they were trying to figure out whether the AI could independently produce a functioning replica of itself. And when it was instructed to clone itself or themselves, in the event of being shut down, both models successfully replicated themselves in more than half of the 10 trials that scientists conducted. And that suggests that this crossing of the red line of the self replication may already be possible. The researchers say successful self replication under no human assistance is the essential step for AI to outsmart the human beings, and it is an early signal for rogue AI. And that is why self replication is widely recognized as one of the few red line risks of frontier AI systems. Uh, it's a little scary. From that story about AI to this one as well, because DeepSeek AI was replicated for just 30 bucks using a countdown game. Now, it looks like this one had human help, so it's not quite as scary, but it's definitely a shakeup to the AI business model. There's a team of researchers in the United States, and they claim they have reproduced DeepSeek's viral AI chatbot, and they did it for just 30 bucks. DeepSeek said it created its AI model for less than 6 million using hardware inferior to US rivals like OpenAI and Meta. But there's a group of scientists at UC Berkeley who claim they replicated this model that DeepSeek is using for under $30. They call it Tiny Zero. Their new AI model, trained using the number puzzle game found in the game show Countdown. It's a game that requires the players to reach a predetermined answer from a random set of numbers. And the Berkeley PhD student involved, his name is Jayi Pan. He led the research. He wrote on X, "We reproduced DeepSeek RI0 or R10 in the Countdown game, and it just works. It costs $30 to train the model," he said. "We hope this project helps to demystify the emerging RL scaling research and make it more accessible." They haven't peer reviewed the research yet, but they put it on GitHub, which is a place where anyone can look at the code and access it and check it out. They say the model would need more computational power to be validated in the general reasoning domain, and that would cost more than $30. But the fact that they did that for such little cost is raising questions about the funding models of the giant companies who are doing these types of things, companies that are spending hundreds of billions to develop these advanced models. And the fact that DeepSeek did it for 6 million and now researchers are doing it for $30 may mean a shift in the way that these models are built and used in the future. So that's my little AI section for today. And now here's for Deidre. This is something happier. How about a little picture of a elephant? Because elephants are so cute. Wait, I have this. The whole reason to do this story is because, oh my gosh, baby elephants are adorable. In Oregon, at a zoo, there is um, a new baby elephant. I have to find the video. The Oregon Zoo announcing a 30-year-old Asian elephant gave birth to this little baby girl, and she is the cutest. Where's the video? Come on. They said it in a news release, and oh gosh, okay, I'll show you the picture. Um, Adorable. There's something about a baby elephant. I'm telling you. Hold on. I don't think I can do that. All of this for nothing. Hold on. I got it. I'm gonna make it happen because gotta see the baby elephant. I thought I had video, but I think I have at least this picture. Oh, look at her. How cute is she? Yeah. The elephant was pregnant for 20 months, which is normal and horrifying. The mother elephant's name is Rose 2, and she had this little baby elephant girl on Saturday. The folks at the zoo say they couldn't be happier with how everything is going so far. This was one of the smoothest bursts that they've seen. Rose, they say, just knew what to do. She helped her baby up right away. This baby was standing within 15 minutes and took her first steps soon after that. The mother and baby are being given time to bond in an off exhibit area. That's nice. And the calf will make her official debut at the zoo in Oregon at a later date. They say Rose is really a great mom, gentle, protective. The calf is nursing well. There are already signs that they're really bonding. They say they're ready to help if they need it, but so far, the mom and baby are doing really quite fine on their own. And they have not named this little baby yet at the Oregon Zoo, but boy, is she ever a cutie. Yeah. Look at that little baby elephant. Oh, you just want to. Okay, here's the video that I have. That isn't beauty in the world. It takes your mind off the bad stuff. I don't know what will. Look at her taking her first steps. Oh. Yeah, Rose is awesome. So little and cute. Yeah. Oh, I love it. You feel happy yet? Because I'm feeling happier already. And there she is. Yeah. She'll be a lot bigger by the time people end up seeing her, but that's good. That's okay. We can watch the video and be perfectly fine and happy with that. Your little tiny tail. Yeah, pretty cute. So there she is.
Perfect.
I'm in love with her already. Look at her little floppy ears. And there it is. Little Joy on the After Party Live. Little elephant Joy. Let's talk about this. This story was sent by shadow producer Calvin Wong, and I love it. This is a pretty pricey plate. So this guy is at a thrift store. He's at Goodwill, this guy from Illinois, and he buys this plate. It's $4.99. Call it $5. His name is John. He's a carpet cleaner for a living. That's what he does. And he found this piece of porcelain hidden under, he says, a modern plate. And this plate ends up being an 18th century Chinese armorial export plate. I wouldn't have known what that was, but he saw something in this plate that made him think, that's cool. $5, I'll take it. He said he's a regular thrifter, and he knew that it was worth waiting for carts of new inventory to be brought into the showroom. So he's there just waiting for the new stuff to come out. He said, sometimes I spend a few hours waiting for the carts to come out. I find, he said, it's best to get them when they first come out because by the time they make it to the shelves, most of the good stuff is gone. So he says this plate was underneath a modern plate, and three other people were digging on the cart with me. When everybody walked away from the cart, including me after we went through it, in the corner of my eye, he said, I noticed this plate was underneath a modern one. And he quickly took a photo of the plate using Google Lens and noticed a similar version of this plate had recently been sold for $4,400. So he snapped it up for $4.99, and then he contacted specialists at an auction house, including Sotheby's in New York, to verify what he had. The guy at Sotheby's, he said, is a Chinese export specialist. He identified it. I sent the plate information and detailed photos to another auction house, Bonham's. They identified it. He said, I also sent it to Leslie Hindman's in Chicago. The Sotheby's specialist said the plate was specifically a Chinese export armorial chamfered rectangular platter from the Qing dynasty's Qinglong period from about 1775. The estimated value between $4,000 and $6,000. He further verified the plate's value by turning to Chinese antique porcelain Facebook groups, which confirmed that's authentic. He said what makes this plate stand out is the condition. It was never eaten on or used, no scratches. He said it's pristine. How you find something at Goodwill and know that it was never eaten on just because it doesn't have scratches, I don't know. And if plates were stacked on top of it, come on. But whatever. He said, uh, he's very excited about the condition of this plate, and it looks like he's going to auction this bad boy off. So his pastime of goodwilling and thrifting has paid off for him. We had a story recently about a lady in Texas who found a antique marble top buffet cabinet, and she paid $3,000 for it, and it was auctioned off for a mint. Yeah, a lot. And something was inside the cabinet. It was a Tiffany piece of Tiffany jewelry or Hermes china. I'm not sure. Anyway, um, people find the craziest things at thrift stores. And so this man, John the carpet cleaner, walks away with a $4,000 to $6,000 plate. Are you guys ready for robot bees? I have video of these robot bees, and they could be the wave of the future when it comes to vertical farming. Vertical farming uses less than 95% of water than traditional farms use. And there's something beautiful and authentic about a traditional farm, but in the future, this might be what we are seeing. And the way that we can pollinate in these ways, robot bees. Yeah, I'm going to turn off the music, but here is what it looks like. This vertical farming is what we're doing here. And they say that this is really going to be how we farm in the future indoor farms. So scientists at MIT say they have a new breed of tiny flying robot. The robots weigh less than a gram. And in vertical farms of the future, these flying robots could take the place of bees as pollinators. The team of 5 MIT researchers this month published an open access paper on a new design they developed. They say it will significantly improve flight precision and agility over the previous insect scale micro aerial vehicles, are called MAVs, micro aerial vehicles. These are the tiny, tiny bees that they're talking about. So it's pretty fascinating what they're doing. And I think I have a video of the bees. Well, really interesting. You can see it on the show thumbnail. Here they have, I think I have a different picture for you. They have used a bunch of these micro aerial vehicles to create the MIT logo. They're very, very tiny. Here's a bunch of them all stacked together. And they say the amount of flight that they demonstrated in the paper is probably longer than the entire amount the flight of flight that the field has been able to accumulate with these robotic insects. So they've published a paper in the journal Science Robotics on January 15th. They say the new type of robotic bee minimizes the mechanical stress on artificial wing flexures, enabling faster maneuvers, increased endurance, and a longer lifespan as well. And with that improved lifespan and the precision of this little teeny tiny robot, they say they are getting closer to some exciting applications like this assisted pollination when it comes to this vertical farming. The simulating of natural pollination, they say, is a must if we move toward vertical farming. This is a method that uses AI and artificial lights to grow plants in indoor spaces. It's progress beyond producing mainly leafy greens like lettuce and herbs, which can be grown hydroponically with relatively little water. And they say because nearly 1/3 of the crops we consume have to be pollinated to grow, domesticated honeybees can't easily navigate indoors in artificial light, and pollination by hand is very expensive and time intensive. So the use of these robotic pollinators is a potential option. So these pollinators, again, they weigh less than a paperclip, and now they're getting really good at maneuvering. They think the market is small for this now, but it has tremendous growth potential. Um, but yeah, it could be that vertical farming takes over about 50% of leafy green markets in the US and some small portions of small fruit like strawberries and tomato markets in 10 years. 10 years' time. That's it. And one of the biggest leaps that could enable vertical farming to overcome limitations would be bees or other insects to carry out pollination. So that's why researchers at MIT have been working on these MAVs, micro aerial vehicles, little tiny bee robots. The Flapping wing flight, wings, hinges, tendons of insects endure deformation and high stress hundreds of times every second, which scientists at MIT say highlights the flexibility and fatigue resistance of biological structures and materials. In comparison, these MAV robot bees exhibit substantially shorter lifespans. They're limited to hovering for less than 10 seconds or following simple trajectories at low speeds. But their new Robo Bee is a 750 milligram flapping wing MAV that is now demonstrating substantially improved lifespan, speed, accuracy, and agility. And I knew that I had video of it, and here it is. You can kind of see it there flying around, and that's what it looks like. I mean, they'll have to figure out a way probably to take the cord away, but it can flip over upside down. So that's pretty good. Doesn't weigh very much either. And there it is, flying all over the place. You're a little robot bee. Times are changing, people. That's what I know. All right. I want to make sure that we have time to travel together today. And I saw this. And by the way, thank you to Calvin Wong for that story on the micro bees as well. Um, by the way, the micro bee story, if you're interested in more, can be found at upi.com. You can check out that story. Um, okay. I would like to take a trip to some of the world's most interesting monasteries. If that won't calm you down, I don't know what will. So let's go ahead and start our virtual trip together on this Travel Tuesday. The first monastery that we will stop by is this one. It is called the Holy Monastery of St. Nicholas. And look at it up there. This is a list from Smithsonian Magazine of the 10 most isolated, gravity defying monasteries that you can visit around the world. And let's be serious, I don't really see myself ever going to the top of that massive mountain to just visit this monastery. So it's good that we get to do it virtually. This is in Greece. This is called Meteora Monasteries of Greece. 6 of the 24 Orthodox Christian monasteries across Meteora, a collection of massive stone pillars and rounded boulders in Greece, are still active and have been for more than 700 years after being founded in the 14th century. They chose this breathtakingly inaccessible location for various reasons, according to experts in cultural heritage management in Greece. It's a remote place far from urban centers, a place of tranquility and contemplation, considered ideal for full dedication to God. Like a natural continuation of the rocks, the monasteries are an inseparable part of this landscape. And the location also meant natural protection from thefts and wars during the occupation of Greece by the Ottoman Turks, which is the period in which these monasteries were at the peak of their importance. And here's another picture of it. It's beautiful. It's hard to believe that human beings built that all the way up there. When the sanctuaries were built, there were only 2 ways to get here. You could climb up a vertical path of ladders, 1,200 feet of vertical ladders being hoisted in a net by ropes flung from up above. Or you could take the steps carved into the cliffs in the 1920s, which made it a little easier to get there. Today, about 2.5 million people visit this monastery every year. Tourism, they say, does affect the environment of the tranquility and the contemplation of Meteora, but they say it's nothing that residents who are a bit rugged can't handle in this area. And still, the monastic communities of Meteora exist here. They survive by continually conducting rituals that have been practiced here for centuries. Incredible. All right, we're going to Bhutan. This next one is called Pero Taksang. That one looks pretty hard to get to as well. It's a Buddhist monastic tradition. There are two sides to it, according to Matthew King, who's a scholar of Buddhist studies and the director of Asian studies at UC Riverside. He says there are monasteries in populated locations deeply invested in the spirituality and the economy of local communities. And then there are ones like this, isolated hermitages to which monks and nuns retreat for periods of deep meditation. And that describes Bhutan's Pero Taksang, tucked into the folds of a jagged cliff and at the entrance to a cave called Bhutan's uh, Taksang Seng Semdup Cave. We have to go check that one out on Hide in Your Cave Monday. According to legend, and I'll mess up the name and I'm sorry, Guru Padmasambhava, not so bad, is believed to have introduced Buddhism to Bhutan, rode to the mountain on the back of a tiger in the 8th century, and spent 3 years, 3 months, and 3 weeks, and 3 days, and 3 hours meditating in the caverns. And after centuries of subsequent visits by prominent monks, the Bhutanese leader laid the monastery's first stone at the caves in 1692. Monks typically spend 3 years living and meditating in this gold crowned complex. They have a 4 a.m. turning of the prayer wheel. There are people that go visit this monastery, and they travel up the same way the monks do, hiking one of 3 steep paths 10,000 feet up from the valley floor. This next one doesn't look too hard to get to, but it did have one of the most amazing libraries in medieval times. It's called the Bobbio Abbey, and it's in Italy. They say before the invention of the printing press, that was about 1440, books had to be reproduced by hand in the monasteries of Europe. And Bobbio Abbey had one of the greatest libraries of all the monasteries in the Middle Ages. The isolated site in northern Italy was chosen by an Irish monk. Over the next few centuries, this abbey's importance as a place of study and prayer and political and cultural significance grew. And by the late 10th century, Bobbio housed a collection of about 700 ancient manuscripts. The French suppressed or dissolved this monastery in 1803, but the volumes that were kept here were preserved. And today, they call it the Ancient Scriptorium, is home to the Abbey's museum. It is open to visitors, along with their basilica and their main cloister area as well. Okay, this next one looks pretty precarious, and I don't know if we're going here anytime soon, so we'll go to it today. Popa Town Kalat. This is in Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, and it's called the Nats. They are called the Nats, the demigod protectors of Buddhist practitioners, and they are deeply entwined in the Burmese culture. And they are who inspired the construction of this monastery, Popa Town Kalat. It sits on top of an extinct volcano that they call Taung Magi, the Mother Hill. And legend has it, the great Nat Popa Mada, a flower-eating ogre, transformed into a beautiful woman after falling in love with a royal emissary, lives at the summit, granting wishes to worshippers who scale the 777-step spiral staircase. Who lives there now? Pink robe wearing novice monks who train at this area, or hermit monks who glide in their peaked caps in quiet contemplation across this complex. Wow. Let's go to Armenia. Check this one out. Got quite a view. Pretty beautiful. This is called Sevenavonk Monastery. It's in Armenia, and it is overlooking Armenia's Lake Sevan. And what you see here are the stone remains of the Savanavonk Monastery, founded in 874. It's the site of one of the country's first Christian churches, built in the year 305, following a dream that a hermit monk who'd lived for 10 years on this island had about the 12 apostles. The legend or the story goes that when the Princess Miriam heard his vision, she ordered the monastery's construction right away as one of the 30 that she'd promised to build in honor of her deceased husband. The drop in the lake's water level turned this island into more of a peninsula, but two of its churches still remain, along with what's left of a fortress wall built in the 10th century to protect this spiritual site. Okay, we're heading to Spain. Here we go. You may have heard of this one. This one is called the Montserrat Monastery in Spain. The legend of this monastery starts in the 19th century when an image of the Mother of God was reportedly discovered in one of the caves inside Montserrat. The serrated mountain is what that translates to. By 945, the Benedictine sanctuary Saint Cecilia at Montserrat had been built, attracting Christian pilgrims by the tens of thousands to its isolated perch about 4,000 feet above the Catalan Valley. And it is still one of several historic monasteries where visitors looking to take a retreat, study, reflect can stay overnight. They say the tradition of having guests goes way back to the medieval period, that this monastery always had a special place for guests. That's part of the mission here. So, how about this one? It's it's really raining in the North Bay. A hanging temple. This is beautiful. I am going nowhere near this. Even if I was in peak physical shape, I probably wouldn't go anywhere near this. The Hanging Temple in China. This monk, Liao Ran, chose this spot 40 miles southeast of Datong to build the Hanging Temple in the year 491. He heeded the Taoist principle that temples should be far from the sounds of the earthbound world. And according to this legend, he worked alone to balance the wooden monastery on a shallow lip 160 feet up the sheer cliffside at Jinlong Gorge. Today, this monastery is known for honoring all three of China's main religion, Taoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. Say that 3 times fast. Confucianism. The choice was made so travelers of all faiths could find respite while passing through this remote region. So technically, even though it's called the Hanging Temple, it doesn't hang. Holes as deep as 10 feet were drilled into the rock to stabilize it, but the way it hovers is still a little bit dangerous. For safety reasons, the number of people who could enter the monastery's 40 halls at any one time is restricted to 80 people. That's it. The wooden pillars were added later to keep the whole structure stable. Yeah. The Hanging Temple in China. All right. We're off to this one. There's a lot of people visiting this one. We're built right into the rock in Montenegro at the Ostrog Monastery. It's in a cave high in the stone clavicle of Montenegro's enormous plateau, Ostroka Greda. The Ostrog Monastery, one of the most important Serbian Orthodox Christian pilgrimage sites in the Balkans. They say, though, the mountain's caves had long been places of sanctuary and prayer, the monastery itself was only built in the early 17th century. Not long after 1671, it became the final resting place of Bishop Vasilij, the miracle-working future Saint Basil, to whom the monastery was dedicated. It is split into an upper and lower sections. The pilgrims traditionally crawl or walk the nearly 2-mile distance between them barefoot. It is still actively occupied by monks, and dorm rooms are available for pilgrims. It no longer has the same spiritual and cultural significance it once had in its early days, but it is part of the national history of this area. So, okay, you ready? This one looks like something out of Game of Thrones. You'll see what I mean. Look at this. This is in Turkey. It's called the Sumela Monastery. The Greek Orthodox Sumela Monastery is right up against a steep cliff, hundreds of feet above the Altındere Valley in Turkey's northern Pontic Mountains. It was founded sometime in the late 4th century, and it has a history of, they say, ups and downs. First famous for containing an icon of the Virgin Mary, said to have been painted by the Apostle Luke, this monastery fell into ruin multiple times before it was enlarged and restored in the 6th century. Its current form dates from the 13th century, although much of it had to be rebuilt after it was abandoned and then ravaged by fire in the 1930s. Its main rock church is one of the few structures to survive that ordeal. Its walls and those belonging to a chapel reached by secret passage are still covered in frescoes more than 600 years old. They've had an increase in rock falls here, though, and they had to close it to visitors in 2015 for 3.5 years because they had to clear away 4,000 tons of rock. It reopened to pilgrims in 2019, and now you can visit once again. Let's go to India. This is our last monastery of the day. It's called the Key Monastery. It's in India. There's about 200 young monks that live here. This is a complex, as you can see, of these white temples and sanctuaries that are built up the side of a steep hill, the shape of a pyramid, in India's Spiti Valley. People come here for education in both secular and spiritual matters. They learn the Tibetan Buddhist teachings at the home of revered reincarnations of what's called the Great Translator of the 10th and 11th centuries. The monastery, known for its incredible wall hangings, a cache of artifacts associated with centuries of Rinchen Zangpo's reborn earthly form. The monks, they say, are adapting that the ways they serve people in a changing world. So it's not all about the old ways here. The church, though, is open to visitors and pilgrims. So I hope that taking a look at all of these beautiful and interesting places in the world settled your soul in a way. You guys know I'm not religious, but there's something about human beings building these places of worship that I find beautiful. And that is Travel Tuesday. And I hope it was a relaxing one. Okay. Well, I have so many more stories for you, but I guess they have to hold until tomorrow because I don't want to keep you guys too long, and it's already almost 2:10. But tomorrow, let me just highlight some of the things coming up. Tomorrow, I've got a story for you about the new ways in which we're using the Apple virtual reality headsets in surgeries and training doctors. So I've heard Jefferson Graham say, we need this for? This is fascinating, the way in which they're using these things. And there's a case of an ancient papyrus scroll. They've now translated what is the words on the scroll, and it turns out that it's all about a very, very old case about tax evasion, a legal case. And I'm fascinated by this as well. And in Alaska, they found a cash pit. I'll explain what that is tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for staying and being here with me. Beth Farmer, thank you for the super chat and the super sticker. And Deidre, thank you so much for your kind words and the super sticker. Wes, thank you for the $10. I think I might be missing one from early on. I am so sorry. I think it went away. But thank you guys for contributing to the show and for hanging out and being here. And I will see you tomorrow. John Rothman will be on the Mark Thompson show, as well Belinda Weymouth with It's the Planet Stupid. And then tomorrow maybe we'll lighten up our souls with some waterfalls. Yeah, that's what we'll do. All right, everybody. I hope you have a really great rest of your afternoon. Make it a good one, and I'll see you back on YouTube tomorrow. Bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Tiny bubbles in the wine makes me happy, makes me feel fun. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over, with a feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time. Oh, here's to the golden moon, and here's to the silver sea. But mostly here's a toast to you and me. Tiny bubbles in the wine makes me happy. Ooh, makes me feel fine. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over, with the feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time.
Huge thank you to Deborah S. and Deborah B., who contributed to the After Party Live via PayPal. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And thanks to Wes as well. Here it is. Wait.